I go here on Metal Talk night. We're at the Manor Club tonight to see Mick Underwood's Glory Road. How are you, Mick?
I'm alright, thank you.
And over the years, you've been quite an established drummer. Sort of Greater Mass, I think.
Well, I've
fans
run around a bit.
Yeah, I think you're fondly remembered for being in Gillan, but you've also over the years played other bands like the Outlaws, the Herd. Quite a few actually.
Quite a few. All extremely successful, all of them. Made me millionaire many times over, not.
And let's talk about tonight's band you've got together at the moment.
Okay.
Mick Underwood's Glory Road, actually named after the Gillan album, but who have you got in the band?
Well, we've got some great people actually. We've got some really good people in the band. All pretty much new to me, except for Roy Shipston, who's our keyboard player that I've known for a long time. We've got two brothers, the Summers brothers. Gary Summers is playing bass, and Jeff Summers is playing guitar.
Which also like
well, absolutely, yeah. They're in other bands, but they're new people to me, and I really wanted to tried to put this together to see if it worked. Just to work with some new people that I hadn't really worked with before. There's some people you can say, okay, well, we're going X, Y, Z if they want to do it, and I just wanted some bit of new stuff.
And what was the idea behind this band? Because you've been off the radar for many years now.
Yeah, I've been playing, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been sort of going around banging head against the wall. I've been doing a few business interests I've got. To be honest, when the Gillan band finished and the way it finished, which I don't want to go into, it kind of, where'd you go from there? You know, and sometimes it's not.
Did that sort of leave you disillusioned at the time? That leave a bad taste in your mouth?
Oh yeah, it left a lot of bad. You know, I mean, you've only got to talk to the other members.
Yeah, it's quite well documented.
It's well documented, yeah. And you know, it kind of puts you off a little bit. You think, well, we've done this. Why? At the end of it, But hey, you know, if you're a musician, you want to play.
Yeah, and I think, especially Gillan, I think they are fondly remembered by the fans, myself included, and we still play those albums to death to this day. So with this band, what sort of songs can we expect in your set?
Well, some of it is Gillan. At the moment tonight, the majority of it will be Gillan. That's not going to be the overall plan. From the Gillan set, we'll be doing sort of MAD, Mr. Universe, On the Rocks, obviously the Singles Trouble, New Orleans, and one track song that we never really played with Gillan. We played it once, I think, and I think that was on our initial 3 nights of NRK. It was from the Mr. Universe album. It was a fabulous kind of town song called She Tears Me Down.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is a good song. And I didn't think we'd done it at all live, but someone did point me that we did do it on those first 3 nights that we did there. So
it was a long time ago to remember.
It's a long time ago, yeah, it was, exactly. But it's a great song, and it deserves an airing. If we can, do it.
And obviously, like Bernie Tormey and John McCoy, they're still going, like GMT. Do you get in touch with those guys?
Oh yeah, we constantly.
They're
good mates. They're doing good. I've seen the band. They're an excellent band. I mean, Bernie's Bernie, John's John. And Robin's great with them.
He's fantastic.
He's all the business, you know.
How about Colin Towns? Because he's quite busy doing sort of film scores.
Yeah, he's doing. It's funny. I spoke to Colin a couple of years ago. Around about that on the phone regarding something else, and I had spoken to him for a long time. And absolutely brilliant to talk to him. He's in a different musical place now, which is great for him, which is what he's loving. You know, that he always was very studious really with his music. When we were on the road, he was studying at night, and doing film scores. He was taking film scores on the road a little bit to put music too. So he's doing great. I'm very pleased with him.
And I read on your website, I think the last time we had contact with Ian Gillan was about 30 years ago.
It was.
Is that still the same? Is that went away?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
You
know, I did try and get hold of him a while back because my daughter, who he's godfather, she was getting married. And I thought, well, it would be really nice if he was about. If you'd like to come to the wedding, but I actually just ran up speaking to his office and got someone sort of sent me an email, hi Mike, saying more really, one of them. You know.
And let's talk about like your early career, like from the beginning, because it's actually a gentleman who passed away sadly this week, Jim Marshall, actually sort of play the drums?
He did. He was, when I was 14, when I started to play, or wanted to play, I went to him for drum lessons. He lived quite close to me in Southall, and he had a little room in his house, and he taught people to play drums.
Yeah.
I was one of many.
No, that's before was that before he started making amplifiers himself?
Yeah, no, he wouldn't make it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hated rock and roll.
Yeah.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
we'd pitch up with the latest sort of, how do you play this, Jim? And no, don't worry about that, play this. And he wasn't rock and roll, but anyway, times changed. Not long after I was having lessons, he started selling stuff in his landing there, little bits there, said I'm starting a shop. And of course, when he started the shop, which was fantastic success, and it really made a difference to the London scene, that little shop in West London. The drummers were taking their guitarists there, you know, and some of those.
So I believe another drummer was there was Mitch Mitchell from Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, yeah. Mitch was. He started off working in there because he was a little bit younger than me. He's about a couple of years younger than me, I think it was Mitch saying. And when you were that sort of age, it shows, you know. And he was working in the shop, and then he started to play as well.
Yeah.
I think he had lessons with you, I'm sure he did. Mickey Waller was another drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Another one, may not know him, he's not really any better. A fabulous bloke called Mick Underwood, who was with the Rebel Rousers. I mean, there's a list of them. There's a lot of them. And that helped get his shop going, because we were, you know, we were taking people that we worked with, and they were going to the shop, and then of course they were saying, how can we get a great amp? What amps do we have? There's a little crap there, boxes and that's when he light bulb time. And he did it, and bless his heart. Lovely man.
He's like to be immortalised on our speakers forevermore.
Brilliant man.
And tell us, what was like your first professional band?
First professional band, I was at school, just about to leave. I was playing in bands. I mean, my school study was a decent school, grammar school, but I was asleep at the desk most of the time, so I'd been playing the night before. And the first job I was offered and took, literally just it crossed over just a couple of weeks before I left school feet properly rehearsal, was with a bass player that had just left the Shadows, Dr. Jet Harris. Yeah. It was quite a big name in those days. You know, the first gigs was with that, and I was just immensely lucky to get that gig, which lasted for about 3 months or so. Yeah. And that was the very first one, which is not that well documented, but that's
And one of the first successful bands you was in was the Outlaws. Tell us a little bit more about them.
Well, the Outlaws were great. It was funny how I joined it, because when the Jet Harris thing finished, I thought, what happens next there? And I was talking to Dave Such's band, Swinville Such's band. I went to see them play locally. I knew them anyway. And Carla said, why don't you give Joe Meek a call? He's always looking for people to do sessions. So I did call him, and Joe said, well, he said, we're the Outlaws, who were a band I was a big fan of, actually, because they'd got a few records out. We need a drummer. Would you like to come down? So I went down to Holloway Road, where the studios were, and played with Chaz and Ken, Chaz Hodges and Ken.
Chaz Hodges from Chess and Dave.
That's right, yeah. And that worked out, and they said, well, we need a guitarist as well. And I said, well, I know one, and that was Richie. So
Richie Blackmore.
Yeah, so I just said to Richie, I said, look, you know, I've got this gig if I want it, I want a guitarist, do you fancy? And the big come on really was, for me, was A, the band I liked anyway on the previous records, and B, it was this house band for RGM. Yeah. You know, the Tornadoes and buggered off doing their Telstar stuff and all the rest of it. So it meant that we would be getting a load of studio experience. You know, at 17, you can't walk into that very easily. And anyway, that worked out, and we just did loads and loads.
And I believe you spent a lot of time at the Star Club in Hamburg.
We did spend a lot of time there. We went out there twice.
Yeah.
And we had it cushy out there. I mean, a lot of the bands out there were working all day and not out there. And we were out there backing the star actors. First time we were out with Jerry Lee, which was even better for me because I did the Outlaws side of it, and then Jerry Lee had his own drummer.
Jerry Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jerry Lewis, and he had his own drummer with him. So I mean, I really.
I don't think it was the only rock. It was other rock and roll stars who was playing with at the time. Was what was brought in, was like Gene Vincent.
Well, yeah, no, that was the first. That was the first time.
Yeah.
We're only out. We only did the Star Club for maybe a week.
Yeah.
It wasn't long, and then some other stuff as well. And then we went out there next time with Gene. Yeah. We spent some time out with Gene.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Fantastic. And you sort of moved on in other bands like The Herd, and Episode 6 was quite a successful band for you as well.
It was. It was interesting, really. I had a couple of things that were possibilities at that time. And Episode 6, I knew their manager, Gloria Bristow, and she called me, and just at the time those other things were about, and she said, we're doing this. And the band were doing a lot of work, doing a lot of recording, a lot of live radio and slot shows which was going on those days, and I thought, well, that sounds pretty good. And they're a good band, good singers, great singers, and I still wasn't really too sure about it, and I got a call from Ian Gillan, who I didn't know.
Yeah.
He got my number, and we just chatted on the phone for about an hour or so, saying what they were doing, and I thought, well, that sounds pretty good. And we met up and got the band, and it worked out. So that's where I went. Yeah.
And in many ways, you were sort of responsible for sort of ending Episode 6 because. Deep Purple, the very first time of Deep Purple, after the singer, and you sort of recommended a certain Mr. Gillan.
Well, I did, but the band was not this last legs, but it was tired.
Yeah.
Things were changing musically. Things were changing. You got the Zeppelin, you got Purple to a degree at that time. They weren't that big in this country.
Yeah, but they were in the States.
The States, massive. Yeah. And Ian and I listened to some of the stuff that was going on, and we got a little bit. I mean, to be honest, the band heavied up a lot when I played with them anyway. Because that's kind of how it is. But we just got a little bit disillusioned, and we were actually talking about splitting anyway, him and me, to try and form something else. Because he was an amazing singer then.
Yeah, of course.
And it was a really good mate. And then I did get a phone call from Richie Blackmore, to just asking if I knew any singers, and I thought, well, this is a good call, really.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, yes, I do actually.
Of course, Ian Gillan went, and obviously Roger Glover followed.
Yeah, it's a bit of
a double package, really.
Well, that wasn't on the cards actually at the time, but in fact, if I'd have known that, I might have been a bit more reluctant to say anything, because Nicky Simper's a good mate of mine.
Oh, yeah.
So,
of course, he's local to you to this day, isn't he?
That's right. He's one of the West London boys. So that wasn't on the cards. They were looking for a singer, but I mean, I think the thing when they sort of.
So where did you go after Episode 6? What was your next call?
Next call was Quatermass.
That was Quatermass.
That was, I knew. Episode 6 wanted to continue a little bit. John Gust was brought down to sing.
So that's more sort of heavy progressive direction really from Episode 6, isn't it?
Well, it is, but the initial part of it, they were brought into what was the remainder of Episode 6 to try and keep it going. Gus was brought down, John Gustafsson was brought down to sing, obviously play bass, and keyboard-wise Peter Robertson.
Yeah.
I recommended him, I'd worked with him before, a singer called James Royal, and absolutely brilliant.
And the album cover's quite iconic. It's got like the pterodactyls on it. It's like Hypnosis, Stormfalls. And who picked that album cover? Was that just like given to you, or?
Yeah, I guess probably in London. I guess at the time. I don't know. Somebody appeared, and I thought everyone. Yeah, that's cool.
And why did Quatermass end so short? It's like one album and out kind of thing.
Yeah, we did an American tour, and we weren't financed properly. There was no real finance behind it. And to do what we were doing, I mean, we did the most brilliant venues in America. They were fabulous venues. And we were so skint, we had to sort of get a sub off the promoters to go and get our gear out of the airport and go and do the venue. And doing it that way, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We did all the great venues. Funny enough, we did an American tour later with Gillan, which we did, cost us a fortune. And we didn't. The venues were diabolical. We should have come home straight away with that one. But with the Quatermass, we did all the great venues. came back, skids, a bit disillusioned, went to studio, started a second album, and I don't think anyone really had the answer.
That's interesting,
Why?
That's bad, really.
It's a bit of a why question.
It's quite ironic, really, because like, you're known sort of for like getting a Deep Purple Mark II line up together, like the Gillan and Glover, but in many ways you're sort of indirectly responsible for Richie Blackmore leaving Deep Purple, because obviously he covered Black Sheep of the Family. So this is the very blame.
Bloody gobsmacked when I first got that. And someone said to me, yeah, well you broke them up, didn't you? What did I do? What did I do? I don't know really. I mean, all I did, while they were doing, was it Machine Head? I don't know what.
No, it was on, just on Stormbringer, and Richie wanted to do it as a cover version of Deep Purple, and obviously the rest of the guys didn't want to do it. And so you got Ronnie James Dio in as a solo song at first.
Yeah, whatever album they were doing, I don't know. I used to go down to see them and everything. So if I was up in town doing something, I'd pop in and see them. And I had a tape of it with me, and I thought, my best of recollections this was, and Richie said, what's happening? On the break. I said, well, we just done this. And he had listened to it, and he said, oh, that's good. And nothing else was said. And obviously after that, he hit the fan a bit.
And do you like his version?
It's different. It's different. It's a good version. It's. I mean, it doesn't really have the hammer that we gave.
Exactly.
But it's still good. It's still very good. You know, it's a different version. That's all right.
And after Quartermass, you got to work with Paul Rogers.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How did that come about? Because he's quite a famous singer as well.
I just heard that he was doing something. I didn't know him. Cast the net a little bit and got a number. And spoke to him. He said, "Yeah, come on down." And went to his place near Guildford and had a little jam with him and Stuart McDonald, the bass player. And that was piece put together.
Oh, yeah.
It was good.
Excellent.
Right singer.
That must get that short lived as well, really, in many ways.
Well, it was free Reformation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was in downtime between Free where they fell out and all sorts of nothing. It was probably a good thing that they did put it back together.
And tell us about the other bands he's involved with, like, because I think it's Sammy and a band called Straps.
Yes.
I've sort of forgotten about it, if you don't mind me saying.
No, that's all right. I forgot about Sammy as well, to be frank with you. I put that together kind of on the rebound from the piece thing with Paul Rogers. Put some people together for it. Good players, good people, great sax player, good girl. Writing wasn't that great, which you got to have. I'm not a real writer. Did a bit with it. Too lightweight for me, really.
Yeah.
It went. Well, I didn't have any. I lost control of it a little bit, and it just didn't go. You can only control if you got the right people, and it wasn't quite right for what I mine. I hated the name of the bloody thing as well. Just went wrong, and then there's the Straps thing was very odd actually. That was a good band, Straps. It was really quite good. I liked them. I'd done an American tour. It was a sideman with a singer-songwriter, and I came back from that tour, and. This is when I first met Roy Shipson, who's playing keyboards with us now. Mike Harrison, who's singing with Spooky to Spooky to who's putting his band together with Ireland, and invited me to get involved with that, which I did, and we worked really hard on that, and we got all the way, not with Ireland, Ireland sort of walked away from it after a while, but I got them up to where we had a deal with Harvest stuff, which was quite a good deal. At the very last second, he dropped it. He walked out, he turned and walked out the door.
I think we had a story for many bands over the years.
So it wasn't good, that was it, Roy? It was a good shock. It was a bit.
I think another little story about you, not many people may realise, but you was asked before John Bonham to join Led Zeppelin.
Well, I wasn't. I wasn't.
What was New Yardbirds then?
Yeah, that's right. It was right. I mentioned Jimmy Royal where I met Peter Robinson. I was doing a film thing with him in town, and we were sort of having a drink afterwards, and Peter Grant walked in.
Yeah.
Well, he did used to walk in. He knew he was there, and I knew Peter really quite well from the Outlaws days, very well from those days. And he said, Mickey, what are you doing? And at the time, I said, I don't know, I've just done this thing. I said, he was up there with, I can't remember who it was. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I've been Terry Reid, I think.
Yeah, that's right, Terry Reid. Sorry, yeah.
There's another one who had an idea for.
Yeah, that's right, with Terry Reid. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, no, I've just finished this." And he said, "Oh, it's on. Jimmy's putting the Yardbirds back together." He said, "We've got something coming up with that." He said, "You interested?" I said, "Well, yeah, it might be, you know, I wasn't sure. Really.
Yeah.
I could be." He said, "Well, you know," he said, "Give me a ring." He said, "Blah, blah, blah, you know." And that was about the time I got the, well, exactly was the time, from August to the day when I got the call from the episode 6
Yeah.
And I decided that rather than muck about, I'd go with something I knew.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. I don't think it made any bloody difference, honestly.
I think, no disrespect to you, but you got a good band together.
Absolutely, they got a fantastic band together.
But did I
was one of their biggest fans.
Yeah.
So
did you ever keep you awake at night sometimes thinking, if I really...
not for a second.
Yeah, good.
Not for 1 second.
And that's, as I say, not sort of going in circles here, but obviously you joined was Ian Gillan band at first and then Gillan, but there's good and bad times with Gillan. What are the happy memories of Gillan?
Oh, most of it.
Yeah.
Most of it. Everything, but it was a good friendly band. I mean, it was, you know, it worked every night pretty much. You know, it was
I think people forget you like 3 top 10 albums, headline Reading Festival. I think twice headline Reading.
Yeah. Well, we did it once. Yeah, Eddie played it a few times.
Yeah.
It was just a great band. You know, I liked the material we were doing. I liked the people doing it. Everyone did it.
Yeah.
There's nothing not to like. The only underlying problem that became apparent and was there right to the end was the question about the finances, really. And that, I've not been very further, it's well documented, but it's a bit boring. But that was the only underlying thing with it. The only underlying thing with it. And then towards the latter part of it, where a record company was almost demanding covers. I mean, we'd had 2 hits from covers.
You did quite good cover versions, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, yeah, we did. I mean, we're going to do one of the tracks tonight that we covered, which is Living for the City.
Yeah, oh, excellent.
Which, it's not one I like much, to be honest, but these guys like it.
Yeah.
And a few people have asked to do it. I don't see why we shouldn't do it, really. It's not one of my favourites, to be frank with you.
What was your favourite Gillan album?
I liked them all for different reasons.
Yeah.
To be frank with you, everyone goes, "Oh, well, Glory Road is this," and I like the Double Trouble album for different things.
Yeah.
Magic was probably my least favourite.
Yeah, it's a bit more poppy. I suppose that's where company interference, wasn't it?
It was a bit blitzed up for me. Yeah, there's still some good songs.
Yeah, there is.
Good stuff on it.
Lucy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some good ones on it, but the Universe album, the first one, that was great. It was very fresh.
That's when you become a band.
Well, yeah, but I mean, to be frank with you, when I was asked to go and play, Ian called me and said, "We need a drummer. Do you want to come and try?" I didn't know they'd been going at it for a while. I said, "Yeah, I will do." And I'd heard something they did in the studio actually, which became a song that we actually recorded ourselves. It was done at a different time then, which I wasn't over enamoured with, to be honest with you. I'd been in the studio when it was recording because I was at Kingsway with Straps. And I said, okay. And when I went down there, I was in 2 minds whether it was going to be of any interest to me, particularly. You know, I mean, the band wasn't anything big. It wasn't a big touring band at that time. I was doing gigs, but that was it. And when I went there, and I didn't know Bernie. I'd never met him before, and we just got in there and played. And it was bang, straight off. The chemistry was definitely there. I mean, I knew how he was. And the following day, we actually started working on the Universe album. So it was pretty quick going there.
It's different in days as well, because you bang an album tour every year, weren't you?
Well, if we weren't on the road, we were in the studio. Or writing, or whatever. Yeah, it was the amount of work that we did in that period. That's not on the albums, it's on the bloody singles as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I say, going back to the interference a little bit from the record company, they wanted the covers, and that's really how Living for the City got done. It was kind of.
And not enough, they didn't break the top 40. It was like the first Gillan singles not to break the top 40 for a long time, wasn't it?
I was surprised with it, to be honest. I wasn't surprised with that. But, what can you do?
Yeah. Well, Mick, you left many happy memories, and I still play those albums to this day. I really do.
Where's my royalties?
We'll get you a cheap pint here, don't worry. Mick Underwood's been fantastic talking to you. I really could talk to you all night, so thank you very much. And
Pleasure.
Mick Underwood's Glory Road, check him out. Thank you very much. Cheers.